Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode on the Fashion Fables podcast. Today, I am welcoming Hannah Dahl, creator of the Dahl House based in LA. Hannah, thank you so much for coming here today.
Of course. Hello, Dahls. I'm so excited to be on today.
So let's get right into it. Hannah, let's just begin by telling us about yourself and your career path.
Yeah, so I am 27 years old. I live in Los Angeles, California. I'm originally from Southern Orange County. I went to school and got my bachelor's in interior design back in 2018. And I've lived in Orange County pretty much my whole life. And I started working at an interior design firm before the pandemic started. And I was working there for about a year. And I actually kind of quit my residential interior design job, just kind of thinking maybe this isn't exactly what I wanted to do, even though I kind of thought it was like the path that I wanted to do my whole life growing up. My mom is actually an interior designer. And she was a set designer back in the 80s before she did residential interior design. And she actually did the set design for the show Pee-wee's Playhouse. I don't know if you know that show or heard of it.
That's awesome.
It's very like funky and just very like youthful, but in an adult way. Um,
Yep.
she, she did the set design for that show, and just growing up, I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. And I was so inspired by just like creating little worlds and design and really just like utilizing your imagination to the fullest. And I left my interior design job just kind of not knowing exactly what I wanted to do, but having like a midlife crisis like, this isn't exactly what I wanted to do. There's got to be something else out there. And right after that, um, the pandemic happened, and I was just so lost and kind of a little confused at just what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. And I knew I still loved design and wanted to incorporate that somehow into my career. I started to pick up selling vintage home decor during the pandemic. That was kind of um, something I was really inspired by because I love vintage and I've always been a fan of nostalgic and vintage items, vintage design, vintage fashion. And I wanted to incorporate that somehow with home decor. And there was this big boom of vintage resellers, especially on Instagram. So I kind of hopped into that community and quickly just like found a really strong passion for creating these like miniature sets and like designing these little themes, especially like picnics outdoors. I had so much fun like dressing up and styling clothes to kind of match the vintage home decor of these like theme drops that I would curate and sell. And it started on Instagram, quickly escalated, and it developed into a website that I had. The website is currently offline right now. It'll come back soon in the future. But I was selling vintage home decor, and I just thought, this is so fun. Like, I love doing this. And it's a true passion and a dream come true, just being able to kind of do something independently and still be able to like content create and have fun and express myself through fashion and on Instagram. And I was living with my boyfriend at the time in Orange County. I really wanted to find a place to call my own and really design it in my own style. And it was a little hard to when living with my boyfriend. I don't know if anyone else can relate. It's sometimes a little tricky just trying to, paint your walls pink and your boyfriend's like, what are you doing? But I definitely like just had so much fun decorating my space and really wanted to find a place in LA to call my doll house home. And that kind of is what started it.
Wow, that is amazing, especially because I feel like it's so relatable on so many levels where people kind of like know what they want to do, but then there's like this like hesitation or you're in that position and you're like, I don't know if this is really for me. And I think a really important takeaway from all this is to like keep searching until you feel like content with yourself. And I mean, I feel like there is always room for growth, and you probably still have ideas you want with the doll house or ways to expand it and stuff like that. But I think just a matter of like being in the moment and appreciating where you are now. And I feel like things will fall more into place if you are just grateful for what you have. And I feel like if you have that spark, you're kind of able to overcome an obstacle if it comes your way, and kind of just digging deeper. I think that's what makes you like powerful and fearless, and it can seem intimidating to those. However, I think that everyone has their own passion that you just need to keep digging a little bit deeper, and it will definitely come to surface. Relating to the finding ways to set scenes and especially picnics, I can totally relate because over the summer I will just randomly have this idea pop into my head, maybe from like a Pinterest thing that I saw, and my parents will be like, "What are you doing out there?" And I'm like, "Oh, just like taking photos." Like it just feels like comfortable for me, and just like a creative outlet, I feel like. And I feel like you can relate based on like what you've been saying. But thank you so much, and I'm sure my listeners can also relate with that.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. I mean, it really started out like, I think it was my birthday, my 25th birthday. I had like a spiritual awakening in a sense because I'm naturally very, very hard on myself. And I know a lot of people can relate. And it's hard to compare yourself, seeing everyone on Instagram doing all these things and, you
Yep.
know, finding their passions and making careers out of them. And while I was doing residential design, I knew I loved being a part of the Instagram community. And I knew there were others out there that also had these like really big passions for just creating and being involved, creating things that come out of your mind that you find on Pinterest that you're inspired by. And you just go home and take photos or go, find locations. Like there's so much you can do with it and just style different
Hmm.
outfits, and whether it's outfits or home decor and your interior design. There's
For
just
sure.
there's so many of us, I think, that can relate, that I've really enjoyed finding a community that really understands. But you can literally manifest anything and make it happen. Like it might take a lot of time, and I realized that in my whole spiritual awakening thing. I was like, I
Mhm.
can't have this like instant overnight thing happen, but I just know that if I try my hardest, and I had a vision, so it really helped. But if I really just like niche down and try like give it my all into really what I want to create, I know like with doing the steps and really just putting my full passion into it, you can achieve anything. And it might take time, but it totally pays off.
For sure. That was so beautiful. Thank you. So let's move into the next question. So what now like inspired you to create the doll house? I know you talked a little bit about this, but what would you say your main goal is, and kind of what keeps you going with it?
Yeah. So, what inspired it was when I had that whole spiritual awakening on my 25th birthday. Was when I was selling my vintage home decor, my original name of the business, of the brand, was Disco Baby Doll Vintage. It's a mouthful. It's very funny, but Disco Baby Doll is like my Finsta
That's so
alter
cute.
ego name. I love
Okay.
dancing 80s disco, and Disco Baby Doll Vintage was like the very beginning of the vintage home decor brand. And on my birthday, I realized, wait, this name does not feel right. Something is telling me like I really need to utilize my name Dahl, and that's my
Yeah,
last name. And I've always just, I guess, been like wanting to really just show off myself and who I am and put that into a brand. And I had this idea, what about the Dahl House as a name? And one of my
perfect. Yeah.
girlfriends, her eyes lit up and she was like, yes, you have to. Like, this is totally like something really cool. And I believe in you. Like, you should totally do that. And I changed the name, rebranded everything, made like just this whole new Instagram, and decided to make it all things pink, girly, feminine, romantic, fairy core, doll core, all the cores. and turn this into like a life-size vintage dollhouse and incorporate my love for vintage and Barbie shabby chic style. Those are like kind of the design styles and really inspired by. And I just started finding all of these vintage furniture pieces that really spoke to me and resonated with me. And I said, I really love selling the vintage home decor, but I kind of want to take a moment to keep the things that I'm finding and just really put my whole passion into curating a world and designing it myself and seeing, what happens with it. And this is where we've gotten so far. And I
Yeah.
I really knew in my heart, I feel like LA is the place that I want to start doing this because of the old Hollywood bones and the beautiful historic architecture. That's what really speaks to me. And it was kind of harder to find that um, style in Southern Orange County. And went through a little, midlife crisis thing. Ended up breaking up with my boyfriend temporarily. I dyed my hair pink and I moved to LA. And that's how this place kind of started. And
Oh my
it's just brought about so many opportunities. And I never saw this coming, but there's just so many ideas I have now. Just keep moving forward with it. And yeah, I'm excited to share those ideas too and dreams.
God. I feel like those are the best things, right? When like they're least expected and you feel like, oh my goodness, like this is like who I am. This is how I want to portray myself as through not only yourself, but now the dollhouse that you have. And I also think that the name is absolutely perfect. And I didn't even realize that it was your last name. And then like I went on your main account and I was like, oh my God, like imagine having that last name. Like you could do like, and for like your interest, it was like totally perfect. So I definitely agree with the whole rebranding thing because it's literally like it matches exactly. And also I feel like your one of your goals is to paint this like picture of like I don't know, that feminine core and princess core and all those things you were talking about, and it truly feels like you're in some type of like dream, like fairyland. And it caught my eye instantly because I wish like my house you know what I mean, like I would love for my house to look like that because, and like you were saying, like boyfriends, brothers, they're not gonna like if I painted my walls, like the wallpaper will do, but like, like it's just if I were to fully like emerge into that world, it would probably look like bows and sparkles and, high heels all over. So it was really awesome to kind of see that like your dollhouse actually exists. Like I was like, oh my God, is this fake or something?
I do get that a lot. A lot of people are like, "Wait, do you actually live here? Or is it just like an aesthetic prop?" But I love one of like my biggest things in life is I love to daydream, and like the biggest thing that I find inspiration with is being alone, oddly, in driving or like creating alone. And it really inspires me to just like let my imagination go so far. And like, especially when I was a little girl growing up, I loved to just like play pretend, play dress up alone, and kind of make these little doll houses. I used to play with calico critters a lot and Barbie dolls, of course. But
Okay.
for calico critters, I had this big little doll house. And this started maybe when I was like 5 years old. I would print out little like patterns, like square patterned wallpaper, and print them out in color and stick them on the walls of my dollhouse and like totally customize these little calico critter dream houses and even cut out like little pillows that didn't exist in toy form. I was like, I want to find little like ruffle pillows at like age 5. But I just had so much fun creating this place, channeling back my youthful imagination. Because when we're so young, we don't have other like outside influences really
Mhm.
influencing us or caring that much about, like what anyone else thinks. And you're just doing your own thing. And I really wanted to bring my inner little Hannah baby to life, my design style.
And, like, it's crazy to see how, like, little you has like, who it has transformed into and, like, the things that you've accomplished just by, like, playing with little doll houses as a little girl, like, you probably never would imagine that your house would look like literally like that in real life, you know? So it's
Totally.
crazy, but it's also super inspiring, also for my listeners just to kind of hear the fact that if you pursue your goals and you chase after what's really meant for you, and that this by no means it will happen with the snap of a finger or overnight, but if you really put the work in and you know what you want and you kind of have people supporting you and you tune out the people who you feel like aren't really supporting you because that's just life and there's people like that all the time. So just being yourself and pursuing your goals, I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that it absolutely makes so much sense. Like, you're always going to have people that are like, what are you doing? You're quitting your 9 to 5, you're taking a huge risk. And it is a big risk. Like, you have to really just be prepared to, the freelance life is not wake up and it's all perfect every day. It's always, you're going to have ups and downs. Um, it's definitely challenging, but so, so worth it. It comes with the craziest rewards, just doing something on your own and really believing in yourself. It's very hard. But if you have obviously like a great support system is so, so helpful. My boyfriend,
Mhm.
my biggest supporter, family, my mom gets it because she was in the set design world and interior design world, but you're gonna have days where people are like, are you okay, like are you sure you know what you're doing? And
Yeah.
it's just really about trying and believing in yourself, and
And
you might
sometimes like nobody yeah.
totally
I
you might
was just gonna
feel
say
like
like nobody sometimes gets it, but that's okay, like as long as you get it and you know
exactly,
what you want kind of thing. It's kind of hard to explain, but
exactly, yeah, it's your own little world and your own imagination, and you're going to be the only one to really believe yourself and depend on yourself at the end of the day. So you just have to make sure like you're taking care of yourself, of course, and you do find a good group of support system of people that do believe in you and support you. It really helps. And when you do put yourself out there, you never, even if you are starting out just alone, you're your only believer. When you do put yourself out there are always going to be other people in a whole like big loving community of dolls or of anybody that supports you and your mission and your vision, and they believe in you. And I found that truly like so strongly, especially through Instagram. And it's like brought me to happy tears so many times. I just had no idea like there'd be other people that truly understand.
yeah. It's sometimes as if like the people on Instagram are like nicer than people in real life. It's kind of nuts, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, I've never even met you, and you're telling me that like this is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's kind of crazy, but also so inspiring. And I feel like sometimes there is a negative connotation around like Instagram, but I think if you're using it for the right reasons, if you're finding that community of people who do uplift you, you can make so many amazing connections that I really have found such positive experiences within Instagram that it's been like my favorite platform, and it's really inspiring for me, honestly.
Truly, me too. I mean, it has brought so much positivity, just especially with the community of my dolls. I like had no idea that it would get to this point, but it literally keeps me going. Like even
Yeah.
when I have a girl reach out to me and like ask how I did my bow or my sofa, or anybody really that just wants to kind of hear my story, and just like ask for advice, I'm always down to make friends and chat and meet new people through this platform,
Aw.
because I genuinely have just never had this much of a support group before, and it really fulfills me and just keeps me going. I love to help inspire and talk to other dolls about like what they want to do with their lives and their secret passions and dreams. It's just so fun to help others make their dreams come true too, in a way.
Yes. Oh. So what types of services do you offer for anyone interested in visiting? And you kind of talked about this, but what really attracted you to the LA location? And what types of dolls would you say tend to take photos at the Dahl House?
Totally. So, the services that I offer for the Dollhouse right now, I have grown into a production rental listing. I advertise on Peerspace and Gigster. And yeah, you can book the Dollhouse for a photo shoot, for content creation, for music videos and films. Even if you just like want to come film your TikToks here, I advertise on Peerspace. I'll provide you with that link too if anyone's interested. But
Mm.
I've also gotten requests for tours, which is a total thing. I would love to do that. I'll just get my little tour microphone and guide you through my space. But
So
yeah,
cute.
it's been a dream come true. I didn't really see it coming from the beginning as this getting a lot of interest for other creatives to come and utilize it.
Yeah.
And it's really been a fulfilling like dream come true in a surreal, like serendipitous way. I love set design and I'm so intrigued by set decorating, the production world. That's my true like it just gets me so
Yeah.
excited. Just
Mm.
hearing all the stories from when my mother did set design back in the 80s, it was so cool to me. And I love just seeing other photographers and videographers, producers, hair and makeup artists, models, everyone just come together and create magic that goes behind the scenes. Like I love like every time I watch a movie, especially with my boyfriend, I'll be like, oh, "Did you see that? Like that lighting change, like that was so cool. Like, oh, that's fake
Mm.
lighting. That's coming from outside the window." Like, I'm so intrigued by the magic that goes behind the scenes. And to me, it kind of feels in a way like I've become a part of the set, a part of the movie set or the production or
Yeah.
a music video production or a photography, whatever the case may be, um, as like a set designer. And it's like a permanent one. It's not, I mean, it's always evolving. I'm always adding new things and it's never going to be quite done, but it's been very cool just getting that behind the scenes action here. And I also just love even like content creators coming here and creating their content, whether it be videos, Instagram posts, TikToks. It's all so fun and inspiring just seeing other people be inspired by my space and creating in here. And as for finding this spot in LA, while I was in Orange County, I was currently living with my parents. So I wasn't in a total rush to move out. I wasn't getting kicked out of anywhere. I didn't really have a time crunch.
Mm.
But I really, every night I was with my parents. I didn't know quite if I wanted to live in LA yet or not, but I knew I just wanted somewhere with old bones, very historic and vintage architecture, old hardwood floors, crown molding, beautiful chandeliers. And I would like print out like Trulia and Zillow listings. I was at my parents' in my bedroom at night. And if anything had like white walls with original hardwood floors and like a little cute vintage kitchen or vintage tiled bathrooms, I would print those out and cut out little pieces of like pink furniture that I found online and little decor and like almost like scrapbook just on my bed. Um, I don't know. I guess I was just really inspired and trying to do like manifestations and just be inspired by things I wanted to find for myself in a space. And I would put them in my little box I called my dream box. And I would do
Oh,
this like every week with my parents. And they would always be like, "You are so hilarious. Like, come out and just like watch a movie with us and relax." And I'm like, "No, I can't. Like, I'm inspired. Like, I have
yeah.
a dream and I want to just kind of put this into action." And I still wasn't finding like the exact space that I felt like was meant for me. I would travel back and forth from Orange County to LA and go check out listings of available apartments. And nothing was really like clicking. Nothing felt like, oh, like I'm in love with the space.
Yeah.
And I was still looking around and I ended up finding an estate sale one day. I'm also an avid, or like a very avid estate sale hunter. I love to find vintage furniture at estate sales. I found my pink lacquered bedroom set at an estate sale in Florida. I don't know
Oh,
why. I was looking in Florida. I wasn't finding anything in California that really was like, ooh, like there wasn't anything good here. And when I found this bedroom set, I was like, I don't even have space for this. I don't have an apartment to put any of this in. I'm living with my parents. Their garage is full, but I
just wanted
absolutely,
it.
yeah, like I was like, I need this bedroom
Mhm.
set. It looks like a life-size Barbie doll, like vintage furniture set.
Mhm.
And I called up my best friend at the time. I was like, we are going to Florida. Like, I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know any details, but I just know there's an estate sale in like 3 days and I have to get this furniture. And like in a
Yeah.
matter of within 48 hours, like we were in Florida, had our Airbnb or a hotel, Ubers, plane flights, like a whole
Wow.
strategic plan. And we ended up securing the bedroom furniture. It was like the coolest experience ever. And that's really what started like, I know exactly what direction I want to go for the style of the space. And if it means traveling across the country and finding some things, like, there we go. But yeah, we ended up bringing the furniture back here on a truck across the country. And I was like, okay, this is my, like, I have to find an apartment to put this in, like, ASAP. And I
Like
ended
one thing
up
led to the other.
totally, yes. And things just started to line up and like happen. The truck traveling across the country with my furniture had like a timeline. They weren't going to get to California until like a month and a half later. So I was like, okay, I have a deadline. I have a month and a half to look for a space. And I did end up finding this space that I'm in right now. I walked into the courtyard and had no idea that this like whole fairy tale beautiful courtyard existed in LA. I felt like I was in like Europe or a different like destination. It was so wild. And that when I walked into the apartment, I had this like feeling overcome me that I had never felt in my life. I know it sounds so crazy, but I just looked around and there were original hardwood floors, beautiful like air vents, just like little things, like just the
I
details
just
were all
noticed.
so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, and the like the shapes, the architecture in here, it just reminded me of like old Hollywood. Some like famous actor might have lived here and like played the piano, or it just felt
Yeah.
so surreal and like
Just
just
felt
so,
like you, like, yeah.
yeah. I was like, wait, this is real? What? And yeah, I just made it happen. I secured the apartment. The furniture ended up getting here just in time. Things just started lining up, and it was just such a cool experience.
Wow. Like, I I feel like that definitely took a bunch of time, you know what I mean? And like you probably never even imagine like feeling that way, but I feel like it's so special when you as like the person that's like searching for something like finally that like light bulb off and it's like, oh my gosh, like yes, like and then you like do everything in your power to like make that happen because you know it's like what you want. It's gonna get you from like point A to point B. And I feel like that's like everyone's goal, you know, in life to just find that thing that clicks, whether it's like a passion or literally anything. To just like feel like your soul is like literally like set on fire and like you can be like unstoppable. So um also I love that all the way to Florida, but also I would do the same. Like I want to go on a plane just because there's like a pink like cafe flowers on the outside. Like it's ridiculous,
Oh, I
but
love that.
for me it's like it's not kind of thing and like that's probably like, similar for you and like you want to get something or like why like what that's too much and you're like no like that's the thing where you have to keep like believing in yourself and on your path like I'm never gonna not want to fly out to go to you know because that's just who I am as a person and there's things that make you who you are as a person too so I love the story and I feel like if I was in your shoes too I would be similar and like just going for things because things take sacrifices,
Oh,
as
it's
you know,
all about sacrifice. Like
and
you
like what you
do everything.
so
Totally. Yeah. No, sacrifice
yeah,
is like one of the biggest things I had to learn how to manage and handle because you can't, like party with friends, go on vacations, hang out all the time when you're like really, really, really inspired and really dedicated on, doing something. And yeah, it's definitely it's a give or take type of thing. But if you really do want something, like you can make it happen. And it's not the sacrifice isn't it might seem crazy to other people, but in a way
yeah,
it's what brings you happiness and you can always push through like the hard times like as long as you really just like have this vision and believe in yourself and know like this will be worth it and it makes me happy. That's all that really matters.
yeah. Um, I'm similar in the aspect where I like alone time too, because I also feel my most creative, or I'll be like editing something, or I just feel like I have peace of mind. And I'm the type of person that like has a million thoughts and ideas going on. Like I always want to, what are new ways I can like pose, or new ways I can style something, or like put something together in order for like my things to stand out. Because like at the end of the day, like there's so many creators out there, like in what ways are you going to kind of stand out? And I feel like I spend a lot of time thinking about that, and not only to like care about what others think on social media, but also just like for myself to more so like know like who I am and like why am I doing this, and like kind of like what makes it all worth it. And so for me, it's like I don't really mind like staying in, like because I know that I'm doing something productive for like my interests or for like my end goal. And so like that's what's most important to me. And I don't really mind if not everyone gets it. And I feel like you need to have that mindset because it can be easy to fall into that rabbit hole of like, oh my gosh, my friends are going out, they're gonna be mad at me. Like, no, they're not. Like, so
Oh,
like
totally, totally relate. Yes, absolutely. It is not easy. It is hard. Like
mhm,
you're gonna have times where you're like, oh, like I wish I could go get a drink with my one of my good friends I haven't seen like in a week or so, but or however long. But one thing that really, really inspired me, um, I was very fortunate. I had an opportunity to create for a brand during the pandemic, and um, I had a Zoom call with the owner of the brand. She's amazing. Her name is Tess. She is, I think, like the co-owner of Lack of Color. And
okay.
one thing she said that really stuck out to me is that, like I'm just obviously so inspired, like, oh my gosh, you created this like big brand that I really love and look up to. She said, like, yeah, like there's always going to be sacrifice, even just like sometimes you have to say like no to getting a beer with a friend, just one beer, because that $10 can go so far with
Yeah.
a small business. And that really, really resonated with me because some people don't get it. They're like, oh, just one glass of wine, like you can't come out for like a $20. No,
Yeah.
not all
Yeah.
the time. Like it's sacrifice, and the people that get it, and they will like totally understand and support. But you just have to learn to really go through those, tough times, and you will like get so much stronger, and it will get easier the more you just really believe in yourself.
Exactly. So, do you mind telling us about the interior design, aesthetic, more what's like actually inside the doll house? Like your maybe it's like a few of your most special pieces or pieces that you've gotten feedback on that stand out.
Yeah, totally. So the design that I went for really just it's myself. It's my childhood style that I really resonate with. It's very shabby chic, but also kind of a play on like plastic and like curved shaped furniture that reminds me of Barbie. So I kind of mingled those two aesthetics together when designing my space. Also a little Madonna glam because I love like old
Mhm.
Hollywood and I wanted to really pay like homage to the architecture of the apartment that I'm in. and it really kind of gave me those like old Hollywood bone vibes. So a lot of like satin. I love like shiny. I feel like it gives off that like glamour old Hollywood effect.
Mhm.
Ruffles. I love bows and ruffles, clearly. Two of like the things that give me the most joy in like aesthetics. And pearls, pink stripes, hearts, all just incorporating all my favorite shapes and um, even just like I get inspired from clothes like lingerie and like satin nightgowns. I really just thought about those things when like designing my curtains and picking like my bedspread and like the fabric on my sofa. I really incorporated just like everything I really love and symbols and colors and patterns into my furniture. And I customized a lot of the pieces in my space. Like for instance, my sofa, everything is vintage pretty much. I found everything, drove, flew, curated everything vintage or secondhand. And I customized most of the pieces in my doll house by picking out new fabric and reupholstering them. I found a guy when I moved to LA. He's in downtown. His name is Sean. He's my best friend. He really helped bring a lot of my visions to life, all the custom pieces in here, like my sofa. I spent months trying to find the perfect fabric for it. And the fabric I had in mind, I really wanted to find like a pink on pink satin striped, very 50s inspired fabric for the sofa, and I spent months trying to look for it. It's a lot harder than it seems. Never ended up
Mhm.
finding it, but the right fabric ended up being something totally different. It had little bows and roses on it, and I was like, "This."
Oh,
I know the stripe was like my initial first thought, but this feels so
yeah.
much like me, and it's so fun and unique. I've never seen a sofa like it before. So I decided to reupholster it. And then I just started kind of reupholstering other things that I was like, wait, like this is so doable. Like you can, if you find like a piece of furniture that the shapes you're really inspired by, but maybe the fabric's a little old, a little too old, you can reupholster it and customize it to make it your own. So I did that with a lot of the pieces in here, including like the vanity in the bedroom. That's one of my favorites. I feel like it's like the star of the bedroom and maybe the bow.
Of
uh,
course.
yeah. And then just like, I also really just love the bedroom, mostly for like the pink carpet on the floor.
Okay.
It feels so like it teleports you to when you were like a little kid, and it reminds me of being at my grandma and grandpa's house. They had carpet all throughout their floor, and my other grandma had carpet too, and it just makes you feel young again. Like it I just love to like sit on the floor, um and you just feel like small, like a little doll in a dollhouse. It gives it that like grandma shabby chic effect.
I
But
feel like your whole house is like a dream. Like, I don't know. I feel like you did such an awesome job of being super like specific and like distinct with your pieces that although they have some like differences in them, they like all come together to make this like amazing picture that when people do come to like shoot and stuff, there's like visible differences that like when you see their content it's like oh my god, like where did this come from, you know what I mean? It's very like sometimes it like catches me off guard, but like if you like when you were listing your most like the vibes you go for and like your favorite things like the bows, the pearls, the ruffles, like I like it felt like I was talking and I like giggled a little bit because it's just like it's so perfect and I love this. And
thank you. I love
it's
how other people can resonate with it too. And like it forms a community in a way. Like something I feel a little corny talking about, but it like really, I'm trying to find the word. It just like did a full 180 on my mindset was
Mhm.
a few months ago when I first started doing like peer space and kind of allowing other creatives to come and book the space to shoot their content in. I started out mostly getting a lot of interest from like content creators and like amazing. I'm so excited. is so cool because I'm also like, I consider myself a content creator. And it's
Mhm.
cool to meet other people too and have them come in here and see their vision and how they create in my space. And when I first started doing that, I noticed like some of the gals that came, I would like look at their stories before and after I was creeping. And I noticed like some would say some things like, I wasn't feeling inspired, like I was just having like a hard time or a hard month, haven't felt inspired to create lately, but I'm like planning my outfits for the Dahl House. I'm going there next week. I'm so inspired again. Like I'm so excited. And then like
That's so
after seeing their beautiful photos that I'm like, I would have never thought to shoot there, or like that pose or just your outfits.
yeah.
Like, it's so I like literally cried. They would like post things like, I'm inspired again. Like I feel like after going to the Doll House, like I'm just happy and let's go, let's keep creating, let's go. And I'm like, I have
Like a
times like that
motivation, like
too. Yeah,
yeah.
like I have times like that too. And I know a lot of people deal with, feeling like, do we always have to be like creative and going, and it just
Mhm.
makes it feel a little more normal to like hear other stories about going through like creative ups and downs, and it's totally normal, but it made my heart literally sing just and feel so like full, and made me feel like, oh my gosh, like my purpose feels like to inspire, like help inspire others. And I
Yes.
never ever saw that coming. I was built like designing the space kind of just like, oh, like I'm just making my dreams come true. This is so exciting. But
Yeah.
like,
You didn't like realize it would impact others. Like, yeah.
no, not at all. um, it truly just, I was like, this feeling, I want this feeling forever. I just want to keep helping people in whatever way it is to inspire them. Now I'm like, I just want to make this on a bigger scale one day,
Oh,
so like so many
yeah.
people can feel that way, because that feeling is like truly so special to me and just so rewarding.
Oh, that's literally amazing. And it made me like I feel emotional because I can only imagine how like that makes you feel to know like you're the person behind all of this and you're impacting like so many others. I feel like the Instagram community like needs more people like you. You just are so positive and no matter who you are, like you're open to talking to them and just like sharing things because you don't realize like you impact people just by like reacting to their story. You know what I mean? Just this little things you don't realize make someone's day and like that's just like amazing. And I need to come take photos
I
in
know
the
you
doll.
do. Please come come visit LA.
I'm like, oh my god, I need like I'm like, so how can I get there? What month?
I'll help you plan it. I'm great at this. I love
Aw,
planning.
aw. So how do you then balance the dollhouse with marketing it on social media? Like, do you ever find it difficult or a little bit stressful?
Totally. Balancing, I'm still learning. I'm definitely growing with that. I love to work. And it's a blessing and also a curse because I'm kind of learning there needs to be boundaries and to like go to bed at a reasonable hour and like
Yeah.
this is like a real job. And I mean, it like I have so much fun with it in the same way when you are working for yourself. It almost like for me, it just doesn't shut off. I'm like
Yeah.
constantly like always inspired in this environment. I guess most of the time, like it really just comes naturally when it comes to marketing it. Like I
Yeah.
love creating like
I
reels
can
and
tell.
videos and just having fun, like taking photos here. And sometimes it does get difficult because like you go through like creative ruts. And even if I'm in like, this is the most like inspiring place to me, like why am I not feeling creative today or this week? Um, there are obstacles like trying to really like allow yourself to have a day off, days off, um, in order to feel like creative again. You can't push yourself too hard and be hard on yourself when you do have days off and you don't feel like creating. It's really just trying to balance and um, finding that schedule that works with you and allowing yourself to like have breaks and tell yourself it's okay to not always like be marketing and creating. But it is fun doing it in my own space. I never like thought that this would be a thing. I run a social media account for, I do a lot of freelance things on the side too. But it's like, oh, like it feels so different in a way, like creating for yourself versus like a client. It's
Yeah,
more personal a bit, and
exactly.
you can really like use your imagination to create something new.
Because
But
it's like you don't have any like guidelines, but others is kind of just like you know what you want and you're kind of like in charge of everything. So yeah, I understand.
exactly, yes.
So what kind of like stage of your life were you at when you I think you touched on this when you decided to create the Doll House? Mainly just maybe talk about how this has positively impacted your career and maybe the most inspiring experience or moment you've gotten out of it.
Yeah, I mean, for positively impacting my career, I really just never thought like you can create content and like make this like an actual job. And it's just brought about so many different opportunities that I didn't really think it would. Just like creating for other brands and setting up photo shoots and styling their clothes and utilizing my space as like the backdrop in that way.
Yeah,
That's been really, really cool. Like I really, really enjoy that whole aspect of it too, not just the location rental for photo shoots. But I do really also have a huge passion for music videos.
mhm,
Um, in college, my girlfriends and I would just like hang out at night and just like play all the old like 90s, early 2000s songs and listen to all the music videos.
best. Yeah.
I love like production and like
Okay.
so inspiring to me. So I mean, obviously, like I love the content creators. I love photo shoots. I love films. But I do get super, super excited when there's like music videos being shot here. And I think one of the first music videos I had get shot here a few months ago, maybe like one of the first five, was a Barbie and Ken music video directed
Uh,
by a girlfriend that I hired when I first moved to LA to shoot product photography for me. Her name is Dannon, Death Cats on Instagram. She's super cool, has the craziest, coolest concepts. She reached out to me a few months ago and was interested in using my space for a Barbie and Ken music video. And I was
that's
so excited. That was the first like Barbie themed music
it
video here.
good. Yeah.
Felt like a serendipitous, like, whoa, this is cool. Like I got so excited. It was like a whole thing. My mom helped me prep the day before. I love my mom. It was such a fun time. And
That's
now,
the best.
yeah, it was so crazy. But it feels so fun when like even just having like content creators come and like really dress the part and get dressed up and pretend you're like a little doll in the doll house. Um, it's so cool, so cool.
Sometimes I like forget that like I don't live in like a Barbie world and like not everyone was gonna dress like me and I'm like, what are you guys wearing? Like
Right?
I don't say that to them, but I'm like, come on, like
Yeah, it makes it feel like when I mean, obviously like there have been like a ton of different styles and it is really cool to see like other people dress like totally different and like but
yeah,
like still such a vibe and like so beautifully curated. There's it just it is very niche inside, but it's cool to see different styles also come through. That's what it's
right.
kind of just exciting to say, okay, like anyone can really come here and it doesn't have to be necessarily pink, but it all works out like so well just with a lot of other styles too. So it's really cool to like have a variety of
Right.
artistic styles and visions come in here.
Thank you for sharing that. That's actually super informative. I didn't really know that honestly, but so where are like some places you shop at? I know you mentioned like repulsored and stuff like that. So maybe just share a little bit about that. Maybe a few of your favorite places. And then just like any aspirations or plans you have for your future with the doll house. And what makes you happy with it.
Yeah. So I love, love, love vintage antiques thrifting. I'm constantly going to thrift stores. Like every time I drive from LA to Orange County to visit my boyfriend or friends, I'm always stopping at like at least one to like three thrift stores on my way. Wherever
Yeah.
I'm traveling to, I try to like
Mhm.
make that extra time to hit up a few thrift stores because it's truly like a treasure hunt. You never know what you're gonna find.
Mhm.
Amazing deals. Price points are just great, which is like so fun. 'Cause you're like, oh my gosh, I could get like a bunch of things versus like buying firsthand. It's a little more expensive, and
Right.
I appreciate old things, I guess. I really love like just finding something that is from like decades ago, and you think of like, oh, like who was using this before me? What did their house look
Yeah.
like? What was their style like? So I love going to thrift stores, antique stores. I look online a lot. Etsy is, I'm gonna give it away. Etsy is,
Yeah.
everyone loves Etsy. I love supporting other small businesses. So it's really cool to find like even just like clothes as props and like for myself on Etsy, and fabric too. Fabric from Etsy is great. They have a lot of really cute vintage fabric rolls. It does take a lot of time to look. You have to do a lot of investigating, but it's worth it. And estate sales. I love going to estate sales. It's very competitive in Los Angeles, so I have not been to many in LA, but I love to kind of go on outskirts, um, Florida,
Yeah. Yeah. You find
traveling.
your little spots.
Totally.
Yeah.
You find yourself traveling like 5 hours away to like the Redlands or like the middle of nowhere. But I love an adventure, and I love finding things just out there. Like there's always going to be gold out there. Like if I can't sleep at night, if it's like really late at night, I'm like, there's a reason I can't sleep right now, and it's because there's an estate sale. Probably the next morning,
That's
or something
awesome.
online that I could like find. And it usually always weirdly like works out. I'll like check my phone for a little bit, and like lo and behold, like there is some cool like pink plates like 3 hours away, like on the weekend coming up.
You have to go.
Totally. It's fun. It's definitely like so exciting. Um, Finding something and then seeing it in real life and getting it yourself. It's like a treasure hunt. And then, yeah, mostly estate sales and like thrift stores, antique stores, and
Okay.
plans for the doll house for the future. I really love like right now I'm really trying to like enjoy the moment and take this slowly and take it all in, all these opportunities that have been happening and that I've been like chasing and just trying to have fun with. It's been so inspiring that it does like really have me dreaming of one day hopefully creating this experience like in a way larger scale, either like a bed and breakfast, like a cute little boutique hotel B&B, or like a
Mhm.
hotel somewhere would be so cool. Getting to just like design so many different rooms and like all in like the dollhouse theme, but
Oh my
maybe like
god, that would be awesome.
so I have so many ideas. It would be so wild, but it's like one of my biggest dreams right now. And also, I really do strive to create like a home line one day of like wallpaper,
Okay.
fabric, vintage inspired like ceramics and products that you yourself can kind of use that I have in my dollhouse. Things inspired by those items that I even used to like resell online, I think would be so cool to share with others and kind of inspire other people to live like their life very like youthful and imaginative and pink.
Oh, I would so buy if you had a line. Just because like, people do have like similar aesthetics to what your dollhouse represents, and I feel like that'd be so just like awesome for people who maybe can't make it to your actual house to kind of have pieces that reflect that and then can still kind of put that into their own personality and aesthetic. That would be awesome. I feel like I'm so excited to see what the future holds for you. You've already come so far, but I feel like all your plans do sound amazing. And one day I'm going to be so excited to see what else comes about from this. But I want to thank you so much for coming on today. And final thing, if you can just share ways to stay connected with you, your brand, how people can even like book photo shoots with you, anything about that.
Of course, thank you. This was such a pleasure. I have an Instagram account for my doll house. It's called at the Dahl House, and there's two underscores in between the and doll and house. I'll have to send you the link. So it's the doll
You,
personal
yeah.
page is kind of more like my personal style. I do a lot of my shoots in my dollhouse and content creation here too. It's at Hannah Alina Dahl, and my Peer Space link to book the dollhouse. If you want to come and create content here and do a photo shoot, music video, film, whatever it is you're
Mhm.
inspired to create in here, I have a link that's in my Instagram bio underneath the Dollhouse's bio. You just click that and submit a request for the days that are available that you're looking to create here. And that's where I manage all the bookings now.
Thank you so much. I'm sure there's so many people listening that are interested because how could you not be? But it was so nice chatting with you, and I will link Hannah's socials at the bottom of this episode. So I just want to thank you so much. I had so much fun, and I'm obsessed with the dollhouse.
Thank you so much, Doll. This was such a pleasure. I had so much fun chatting with
Aw.
you and spilling all the dollhouse tea today.